Hello dear ladies and gentlemen, and in this video I'm gonna show you a crazy game between two 19-year-old chess prodigies. One of them is Hans Niemann that recently have won a game against Magnus Carlsen, and the 19-year-old prodigy from France, Alireza Firouzja. This game was played during the fourth round of the Sinquefield Cup in United States of America, and it was the same round when Magnus Carlsen simply didn't show up to the fourth round in a game against Shkhema Medyarov, and Hans Niemann opened this game with king's pawn move e2 to e4, and Alireza Firouzja responds with symmetrical move e5. Knight went to f3, knight went to c6, and here we see some Italian opening, and here simply both sides leisurely, without any hurry, simply develop their resources, simply develop their pieces. Black's pawn moved to d6 square with an idea to go with light square bishop somewhere to g4 or some e6 squares. Castle, rook went to e1, and here Alireza responds with a real rare move, bishop to b6. Usually here black side plays some a6 or a5 to get extra square a7 for a point. If white attacks in some variations black's dark square bishop, then this bishop could go to a7 square to simply stay on this long diagonal. Yep, but here Alireza responds with bishop b6 move, a4. It is also already a scary idea for black, because here white wants to improve and advance their queen's pawns with an idea simply to get in the trap dark square bishop, and here Alireza played a5, h3, h6, some prophylactic move, and the knight went to a3. Also is very common move in some Italian opening structures. Here the main idea is somewhere to play d4 with the light square bishop to go to f1 or to a2 to stay on this long white diagonal, to simply get white's knight to c4, attacking a dark square bishop on b6. Knight went to e6, e7, d4, knight went to g6. Here Alireza occasionally had two different options. He could simply, to simplify position in the center, he could simply take a pawn, but here the problem is that after this capture black has no more any control in the center, and the pawn on e5 is a really important pawn, because this pawn controls d4 and f4 squares, and it is really beneficial for black side. Here Hans moved with his light square bishop to f1, simply to get access to white's knight to get to the game. c6, knight went to c4, bishop went to c7, and simply pawns capture on e5. Here also Hans had two different possibilities. He could take a pawn with pawn on d6, or he could take simply with the knight. Here, if black takes with the pawn on d6, that I guess that Hans would have played some queen c2 with an idea simply to develop in this way his pieces, and really it's not pleasant to play this position with black side, because here white's pieces would be so active, and here dark square bishop simply really a dubious piece. Bishop could move to e6, but here really d file is very important, and this d file will be under white's control. And so Alireza decided to take with knight. Bishop went to f4, attacking black's knight, and knight simply took another knight on f3, queen took, and d5. Good move from Firouzja's side. He simply attacks both white pieces, and also Hans Niemann finished in that moment a developing process, and he simply pinned black's d5 pawn on d5 on d file, and really here is not allowed to move with d5 pawn. For instance, if white could taken a pawn on e5 on e4, then simply queen exchange, and here after a check on f8, simply an extra piece for Hans Niemann would be in this position. But the response is bishop e6, e5, knight went to d7 square, and queen g3. Here simply Hans sacrifices a knight on c4 square, and Firouzja should have taken this knight on c4 square. Of course, it's not pleasant when is such a kind of unusual pin to black king. Yes, g6 is a single move in this position, but here after such a queen f4 move with an idea to play h4, bishop g5, bishop f6, rook e3, rook d3, yes, computer can evaluate this position like plus 2.4, 2.5, get really a big advantage for black side, but really when you play with an extra piece and your king could be in some variations under attack, it's not really unpleasant to play these positions. And here simply Alireza could have taken, and it was a main computer offered line, but here Firouzja decided to move out of this pin. And here after knight d6, now pawn is hanging on b7, but it's not dangerous, because after queen b8 and after returning knight on d6, white's pawn will be under attack on b2. So here Alireza, I liked such this move, knight c5. The main idea is to exchange light pieces on d6 and then go to e4 square, attacking immediately white's pawn on d6, attacking white's queen on g3. And here Hans could play also c4 with an idea somehow to open d file, because here all the play simply take place in the center, and really here c4 move, it's a good idea simply to open the white's rook on d1, and black has no more allowed to take, because after knight f7 simply fork to queen and to king on h8. Yep, and here Hans Niemann, I guess he was thinking about this move, but he eventually played rook d4, bishop took on d6, and the knight went to e4. Here computer offers some really some engine, not human move, queen h2, with an idea then to play f3, to play queen g3, bishop e5, rook f4, simply to get some invasion on the king side, but really it's not such an easy move. And here Hans simply decided to sacrifice equality. He took a knight on e4, and then took the second time on e4 with the second rook. And here, if we speak about this position's evaluation, I can certainly say that here white has a good advantage in this position. White's position is simply better, even without equality, because the pawn on d6 is very strong. It is a passed pawn that black's pieces always have to follow this pawn simply to stop her in some way. But here Alireza played queen f6, and here Hans made a really important inaccuracy, and here the best way to play to the advantage was to play bishop e3 to get to with the dark square bishop to the really important dark square diagonal. After rook e8, bishop d4 or bishop d3, also activating the second bishop. Rook a d8, for example, bishop b6, rook d7, bishop a5, and here white position is almost winning with the two extra pawns, with a strong pass pawn on d6 square. But here Hans Niemann didn't play bishop e3, he played bishop d3, and here it's like a fresh fresh loot to the black's position, because here after light square, after bishop exchange, now it's much easier to defend this position with the black side, and here no more bad position for Firouzja, because he has also a simple plan to stop a pawn on d7 square, and here white has no more any options to push a pressure on black side. Bishop went to e3, c5, g4, queen e4, and bishop took on c5, queen took on a4. Here black's position simply stabilized, and really no any problems to the Firouzja, because he can simply always stop this pawn. And here white's king is also he is not in safe position, because g4 pawn really had the weakened white's king. Bishop went to d4 with an idea simply to sacrifice a pawn, with next bishop sacrificing, winning the quality on d6. But here rook e6 was played in this game, bishop went to b6, bishop went to c7, and here Alireza Firouzja could play simply to the win after queen a1 move, and simply a really unpleasant invasion to the for white side. Here already white would be struggling for the draw in this game, because black pieces are really dangerous, and these pieces are so active. But here Alireza, I guess, wanted simply to simplify, wanted simply to make a draw. He would like simply to take a bishop on c7, sacrificing a quality and finish this game with draw. And here simply after quality sacrificed, Hans Niemann stopped this game with perpetual check with 3-time position repetition, and here game ends by draw. And so great game between these two chess prodigies, and fair draw result in the end of this game. And thank you for your attention, and see you the next videos.